Heyo, what is up, everyone? It's Zach. We're back with History Through Video Games. We're back in War Thunder today. I wanted to explore two planes specifically that kind of started up the naval aviation for the United States. So these two planes I'm talking about specifically are variations of the F2A Buffalo. It actually won out the competition with the F4F Wildcat initially. The Wildcat and the Buffalo were bidding for the same spot within the Navy's arsenal, and initially the Buffalo won it. But even through that winning of the contract, they did not exceed in the way that they thought they would. The Japanese Zeros were exceptionally outgunning them throughout their time in the war. So it was just not a good deal for the Buffalo pilots, to the point that the U.S. Marine Corps pilots who were flying the F2A-3, so the third variation of that, they called the Buffalo the Flying Coffin. So it was not a popular plane for them to fly. It was not a popular not one that pilots were looking forward to being in when they were facing the Zeros. On the other hand, though, the Buffalo was bought by different air forces and nations during the time that it was produced, which it was produced from 1938 to 1941, so a very short amount of time, and there were 509 planes that were made in that time. But during that time, the Finnish Air Force ended up buying a good chunk of them, and they were doing wonders with these planes. They had a outstanding kill ratio against the Soviets when they were flying the Buffalo. They made several different Buffalo aces through that war and that time frame. All right, there goes plane number one for me, so we're gonna have to get that one captured. So they had several different Buffalo aces, and an ace, in case you've never heard the term, is 5 aerial victories. So I don't believe the U.S. ever had any aces, but Finland had 36 Buffalo aces. They were downing 32 Soviet aircraft for every one Buffalo that was shot down. So they were just completely demolishing the Soviet forces with these. So for whatever reason, Finland was able to make it work where the U.S. was not. Granted, Finland was never flying against Zeros, so that could have had something to do with it. And maybe it was just better equipped for colder weather operations. I really do not know if that was the case. So now I'm in the F2A3, so the Flying Coffin, that's what I'm flying around right now. Hopefully I do not live up to that moniker. We're going to go after this yak over here. But it was a well-handling aircraft. Like, the fact that it won the competition against the Wildcat, it should not be scoffed at. I mean, it's still a fantastic aircraft. It just did not do well in the areas that they thought it was going to. It was still very well armed. It could still carry a payload of 2 100-pound bombs in War Thunder here. I can't recall what they actually would throw onto the planes in the Second World War. But the Wildcat then eventually was bought back into the Navy's arsenal. And the reason that they did it after was because there were a few variants that came out afterwards that just did better than the original testing variant. This gunner is doing some work on me. But that was just something I wanted to share with you guys. I had learned about this plane. It did not live up to what they thought it was going to, but I just found it interesting they initially won that contract before the Wildcat, even though the Wildcat is far more well known, and it was far more loved, especially by the Marines. Oh, out of ammo. We'll see if we can follow this guy down now. So in this game type, we try to capture. Had to get one of the dogs off me there. Try to capture those airfields. So wasn't able to do that there. But that's gonna be my super short video on the F2A Buffalo, the Brewster Buffalo. Fun plane to fly, but it was a very obsolete plane by the time it entered the war. It was used in the Battle of Midway, and that was where it got its nickname of the Flying Coffin. It just when it went up against the Zeros and the Oscars, the Nakajima Ki-43 Oscar, it just was outclassed in nearly every single way. The U.S. pilots were not able to make a whole lot of headway against those planes. So I did mention that we had some Buffalo aces. They were just a few non-Finnish Buffalo aces. I wanted to mention them super quick. So Jeff Fiskin with the Royal New Zealand Air Force had 6 victories. Now bear in mind that some of the Buffalo aces for the Finnish, the top 3, the top Finnish pilot, and it's Hans Vind, 39 kills in the Buffalo, compared to anyone else who was not with Finland was not getting anywhere into double digits. It was just barely making that ace standard. And then so Doug Vanderfield with the Royal Air Force had 5 and 1 shared kill, and then another 2 with the RAF had 5 victories each. So it was not a standout performer when it was not with the Finnish Air Force. So that's just something I wanted to mention. But there were a few different variants. In War Thunder, we only get 2 of the variants, that F2A1 and the F2A3. So they were able to be decent fighters in their own right when they weren't flying against planes that outclassed them. So super short overview for you guys on the Buffalo. Hope you join me next time. We're gonna probably dive into at least one more War Thunder video. I can't seem to get away from this game, but I'm gonna try to get in some other games like I have been doing. I think we might jump back into Assassin's Creed and visit a few things in Assassin's Creed Syndicate. So stay tuned for that.